We never get to play.
No. Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Live from the Sword Coast podcast. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly dungeon master this evening. Tonight, we are continuing on with our ongoing Champions campaign. This is playing the superhero role-playing game published by Hero Games. This is the 6th edition of the Hero system that we are playing, but it is the original and the first superhero role-playing game, and in some people's minds, the best as well. Our campaign is set in 1937 currently, and features a rotating cast of superheroes in kind of a Westmarch style campaign, with people dropping in and dropping out when they're available. Tonight, we are having our first example of someone dropping out and someone else dropping in. So let's see who the stars are for tonight. First up, we'll go the order you guys logged on. Jeff, why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing?
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, and I am playing Dr. Colin Black, also known as the Duplicator.
And who plays Dr. Black in the movie version of our adventure?
James McAvoy.
Nice. Next logging in is Korg.
Hi there, my name is Corey. I'm playing Special Agent Jack Valiant, who would be visualized by Josh Brolin, and he's a special agent from the past.
Okay, and last but not least is Brent.
Hey, and I'm playing FBI agent Matt O'Connor, and either he is Matt O'Connor from the present or from the future, depending on your perspective of things. And I think we came up with that he looks like a young Keanu Reeves from Point Break.
You came up with that.
I think you added the Point Break, which works. I forgot about that movie though until you mentioned. I'm like, oh yeah, that exists. I forget there was
actually Steve who picked it up. Steve was the one who picked up that it was what you were describing was effectively Keanu Reeves in Point Break. So, hold on. Let's do the camera shuffle and hop into Roll20, guys. So what am I doing here? What am I doing? Turning my camera off. Sharing my screens. There we go. Present to everyone. Cover that up. Hide that. Oops, fuck, don't open Firefox.
The dead presidents are surfers.
I think that might be the same reference Steve made. I'll have to go back and watch the tape, but oh fuck, that's funny. Okay, I'm just refreshing Roll20. So last we left our heroes was on January 21, 1937. What had happened? Brent, you want to give us a quick summary of what happened last session?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so last session, having been flung through time, Sylvester and
how did you guys get thrown through time? Just for the benefit of Cork.
Oh, okay. So we fought. We ended up going to this cabin in the woods because all good things happen in a cabin of the woods, where we were tipped off that there were criminals, and they turned to be two super-powered criminals known as Stromvogel and Iron Father.
Stromvogel.
Right? Yeah. Okay. And and in the midst of fighting them, they had a time machine or a device that set off before we could dismantle it and apprehend them, and we found ourselves in the past. And it really sucks because there's no cell phones or credit, and or at least no credit cards. And then we made our way to town, where some weird dude came into our hotel room saying, wondering if we knew anything about some supernatural events.
So, you know, guys,
and then the weird dude showed up again and took us for breakfast in the morning to a diner. And one of the patrons of the diner turned out to be a demon who got a bunch of people mad at each other, and it resulted in a big fight.
Okay.
So where we left things last, it was basically you guys walking out of that diner and then kind of piling into Dr. Black's vehicle. And we can do one of two things. I guess like the first thing, let's just quickly revisit what we talked about on online here. 1 second. Let me get, because we were, of course, before you joined, we were emailing back and forth about what could be done in between sessions, and I just need to find, if I planned better.
I think we got so far as we were heading to New York City.
Yeah, I think, and
Yeah.
I feel like that's sort of what that might have been me forcing you in that direction, because I was saying, oh well, we'll get to New York City and we'll set up the campaign there, but that's where we're going to end up, like once things get rolling. But we don't need to necessarily just wave hands and get you there, because one of the things I said is that, let's see here. Okay, so here's the things that I had written. Looking forward, I want to remind you guys of a few things. Superheroics are mostly investigative or mystery games interspersed with superpowered combat. So you guys will want to essentially look for clues or info that give you enough to act on, or on which to act, and if not, then keep looking for more clues. So what mystery that you guys want to uncover, what adversary you want to find, what allies you want to make, and that can happen between sessions, but that can be our our sessions as well. You can approach superheroics from a proactive or a reactive way. Proactive is doing investigation, trying to figure out what the enemies are up to, and then acting before they put their plans into action. I would call that the Batman approach. Reactive is waiting to see what enemies reveal themselves, and when they do, you try and stop them. That might be considered the Superman approach to things, because we don't really see Superman trying to uncover, villains. Although I guess in modern comics he's doing more investigative reporting, so maybe I'm wrong about that. But in any event, in this type of sandbox game, the proactive approach is assumed to be what you guys are doing, because the world's out there to be discovered and interacted with and whatnot, and like you guys can wait to see what's going on, but generally you don't want to let the supervillains get their plans in action, and they definitely have plans in action. With that in mind, I said also everything that happens in this game, like a major demon appearing in a small Oregon town in 1937, has a reason. It's up to you guys to determine what that reason was, or really if you want to determine what the reason is, but threats that aren't confronted or understood, they may cause problems as the campaign advances. That's another fun thing about these kinds of games, is that, let's say you guys never think of Blood Rage again, and you're like, oh, whatever, it was just a one-off thing. There may be a reason. Well, there is a reason that he was there. Like, if you thought, boy, that's pretty fucking coincidental that a major demon was in the middle of a diner that we happen to be in, there's a reason for that. And further, in keeping with the mystery nature of superheroic crime fighting, there's likely good information that you can obtain when you encounter seemingly random adversaries. If you interrogate them, if you try and interrogate the reason for them being there, that may help you understand what the hell's going on and then plan accordingly. I also mentioned, this is not for today's session, but just for thinking going forward, what elements you want to see or not see in our Champions game. A Golden Age game like this can see all sorts of cool stuff, as it straddles a wide range of options, from like pulp stories, comic book superheroes. You can fight bank robbers or aliens or ancient civilizations or ninjas or mobsters or Nazi saboteurs or mentalists or cultists or demons or sorcerers or robots or corrupt industrialists or mad scientists or traitorous politicians, or any other kind of thing you could think of. It's really a golden age for wacko adversaries. Also, think of who your adversary is, or your nemesis rather. Who is the one person who's going to stand out as, like, if we were going to do a lead up to a season finale, what's the person who would be your Joker? I don't mean for you to necessarily put a name to it, just giving a sense of what that person might be like. And I wanted to revisit what you, Brent, and what Steve knew. So far, you guys know that Sturmbogel and Iron Father, the old Nazis, they may have traveled back in time with you. The thing is, you don't know that for certain. You guys didn't do an investigation at the scene when you guys arrived. You haven't asked around in town if anyone's seen anyone like that, like a corpse-like Asian guy and an aged guy who speaks with a German accent. So really, you don't know whether those Nazis are back in time or whether it's just you guys. What else? You know that the Nazis seem to have a plan to build some kind of nuclear bomb. You know that it may have something bad to do with FDR, the current president, and the guy who will be in time the president through the majority of the Second World War. You know the name Edgar Sendier is important to their plan, as is something called the UMHK, or Union Minerale de Haut-Katanga, which is a Belgian mining corporation active in the southern part of the Belgian Congo. And I think, Brent, it was your character who remembered that the uranium used in the Manhattan Project, the U.S. government's research initiative that led to the development of the atomic bomb, came from the Belgian Congo.
And sorry, does Edgar work? Did we for UMK, or is that something? Did I falsely write that down incorrectly?
I think you know that he's involved with I may have mentioned that myself, like out of character.
Okay.
Yeah, because we were talking afterwards, and I wasn't sure if this was actually going to be an ongoing campaign or not. But you will, just role play that you don't know. But as soon as you do something that would reasonably expose you to it, yeah, he's basically the head of UMHK.
Okay.
And, so the other things I mentioned is that the old Nazis have younger counterparts who will be active during World War II, though your characters don't know when. Does Sternvogel have his powers yet? Are the old Nazis allied with other Nazi agents? And remember, Nazis start fucking around in the international sphere beyond, like Nazis are the party that runs Germany in 1937. But the first time they really start fucking around in other countries is during the Spanish Civil War, starting in 1936, when they were sending Condor legions to go and help them bomb the shit out of the volunteer brigades and the communists. Is Iron Father active in Imperial Japan? Recall that for Japan, the war starts in July 1937 with the invasion of China, because the Japanese are at war for 5 years, basically, before Pearl Harbor. 4 years, I guess. So those are all things I want you guys to think about. And remember that, like, you do have a pretty phenomenal powers to draw on and pretty great resources as well. So I'm setting this campaign up for you guys to go and, so the majority of what we'll be doing is sort of like interacting with the world and learning about what's going on, and then having some fisticuffs and shit in between as well, because there will be opportunities to use your powers in a violent and very showy kind of way. But anyway, with that preamble in mind, what I was going to suggest is we could just, like, if Brent, if you wanted to do any further investigation in Oregon before you take up Dr. Black's invitation to head back to New York, we can do that.
Okay. Well, now that we have a car and we're not going to freeze to death in the wilderness, maybe we can backtrack to the scene of the crime.
Okay.
Or not this, well, the scene of the...
Let's pick up there then. So what happens is you guys step out of the cafe, and you can hear the sound of like that, like old-timey siren that, there's the local constabulary appears to be coming to the diner. And Cork, what you can see on, I have you guys in the wrong, I have you guys in the right screen. Yeah, I do, great. The street scene you see in the top left there, Cork?
Yeah.
That is what the street looks like. And these are pretty decently high-res images too, so you guys can feel free to zoom in if you want to see what the things look like. The diner where all the stuff went down is actually the second one down on the left. The middle photo, that's where all this hubbub went down and they fought that demon. So I think what happens, guys, is our scene opens with this very plain looking kind of like gray sedan, goes rolling down. This is like a 1930s style vehicle. Pretty much exactly like you see the one in the foreground here that I'm pinging.
Yep.
Picture that, but like in a kind of a darker gray kind of color. And it's sort of chugging along, and we see that there's this guy he's driving along a snow-covered road with big, evergreen trees on both sides of it. The sky is completely overcast at this point. It's still early dawn, so there's long shadows that are cast across this this road, and it's really only when he hits big gaps where there are, logging has happened, where the sun hits the vehicle. So it's really pretty much traveling in shadow, but that does not prevent this gentleman from wearing his shades continually. He has a look on his face that can best be described as a combination of having a taste in his mouth that he doesn't like, and hearing news that's about to make him furious. And as he's driving along, we see this car, wind around a couple more bends, and then it empties out down into this town, which we see in our picture here. He drives along and sees it's early morning, so the early morning traffic in this town, which is the town of Bend, Oregon. We know this because he passes the "Welcome to Bend," sign as he's driving into town. The sign doesn't impress him any more than what the rest of it does, and he finds a stall to sort of park on, pulls up, parks the vehicle, gets out, pulls in his jacket pocket. Does Jack Valiant smoke, Corp?
He probably does, yeah.
Yeah. Pops open the cigarette case, pulls out a cigarette, taps it, on the casing, puts it in his mouth, flashes a match, lights it, flicks the match to the side. Two women walk by and kind of give him a smile, and he does a, kind of exasperated or pissed off look on his face, and he turns. And the reason that Special Agent Valiant is pissed off is because one of his least favorite, I think, and I'm projecting a whole bunch of different stuff on your character here right now, Corey. If you want to play him differently than this, go nuts.
That's fine.
So the reason he's pissed off is because he's freezing his ass off in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, tracking behind the kind of like, from his perspective, the idiot offspring of one of the special people that he has to monitor. And you get out and you're kind of looking around, to see where to get your bearings and whatnot. And that's when you hear sort of some people start, making their way down the street, and they're sort of like that, like kind of walking away from a scene, kind of hubbub. So you look to see where they're coming from, and it's a little ways down the street, and there's a sign outside that says diner. And you start making your way down there, and you see a couple more people come streaming out of there. And when you're about half a block away, you see the person you're looking for come walking out of the diner. And that person looks very much like this. And he seems to be talking to someone. He has a I don't think you what do you call it? I don't think he didn't get actually hit by anyone. So he walks out, and then he's very quickly followed behind by this guy who looks like this, very, very young kid, who looks like he's maybe, a young banker or perhaps some kind of like accountant, just based on the way he's dressed. And then you see someone else come out who, to your eyes, 1937's eyes, looks like a gypsy. That's what he looks like. As soon as he walks out,
your character?
That's Steve's character.
Oh my god!
So he walks out, and that guy, of the three gentlemen who walk out, the one who makes eye contact with you, and you can't make eye contact because you still have your sunglasses on as well. He looks up, and of course, if you guys are not familiar, this is what Special Agent Valiant looks like. I was trying to find. I know that he was in a film called Gangster Squad, which was a terrible fucking film, but he's dressed in like 1930s clothing in it. I'm gonna poke around a little more and see if I can find something where he's actually in a a suit.
I think he was in the third Men in Black.
Oh, was he? Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Totally was. Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I bet you I could find a great photo there. So what happens is the one guy is that that gypsy-looking guy with the long hair and he's got a leather jacket with tassels on it, a bunch of like trinkets and shit around his neck. He looks up and he sees you, and you're far enough away so you can't really hear what he says, but you're quite certain that it's not appropriate Sunday school language. But he says something, and then you basically mouth out, "Oh fuck," and he gestures with his hands, and suddenly there's a shimmer, poof, and he's gone.
What the fuck?
Yeah, you have no idea who this guy is. The two gentlemen who were walking, who were with him, they don't seem to have noticed that this is the case. But as you walk out, then I think Dr. Black, that's when you look up and you see the craggy, stern face of Special Agent Jack Valiant. And you know that he is I'm picturing that Valiant's role from what you described, Cork, is kind of like a friendlier version of Peter Henry Gyrich from Marvel Comics. He's the guy always... He was the redheaded guy who always used to, like, you know, give the Avengers shit for, you know, flying when they didn't have a license, or, you know.
Okay.
But you're not like adversarial like that. Like, you're just sort of, there just seems to be more and more of these people with strange abilities, and you've been assigned to be the one right now who's sort of the overtasked guy to track where all of them are going. And the reason you've come out here is because you know that if he's, you know, if Dr. Black has come out here in such a rush, there's likely some reason.
Yeah, like I guess my role is to observe and report mostly.
You can choose. I'm sort of picturing.
Like, I'm not saying that I wouldn't get into combat. I'm saying, but my official mandate is to observe and report, and I constantly get in shit for like taking initiative and like going into action.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Okay. So you walk out and you guys look at each other. Jeff, what do you think Dr. Black's reaction to seeing this guy is?
Well, I guess I just have one question. Like, would he interfere with my investigations, or he would just basically like, what's our history?
You don't know. We never met each other.
I don't know you. Okay.
I think that what you certainly know is. I think Valiant knows your grandfather for sure. You probably met him at some point, because unless, and the reason I say that is because, I mean, if what you're doing is just like silently observing, you're not going to be able to do anything in most of this adventure, right?
No, I'm not silently observing. It's just my mandate is to observe and report.
Yeah, and I think
that's not what I do.
Yeah. How about this? Is you guys know each other, right? Like, when you've gotten up to shit, Jeff, you found that this guy seems to be, you know, continually underfoot. I'm imagining you haven't done anything blatantly illegal, or at least something that where the FBI would get involved. And the FBI, remember, they have federal jurisdiction, so really only they're really only going to be concerned if it's a federal crime. That's not actually accurate. Like, I think you can be arrested by an FBI agent for anything. It's just that their jurisdiction generally is only federal stuff. Like, they're not going to investigate a local murder. But if there's a human trafficking element to it, or it's a murder where the body was transported across state lines, or it's kidnapping, then the FBI can get involved. That's the way it is in modern day. I'm going to assume for now that that's the way it was in the 30s. So I think that the FBI and this is the last little bit of nerd trivia I'll give you, but like the FBI was formed because of these gangsters and bank robbers who would like steal something in one state and then drive 20 miles to get across the border, and the local police couldn't pursue anymore because they didn't have jurisdiction in the next state. So there would be places where like multiple states meet, and then bank robbers would just continually be, all they need to do is get to the border or the state border, and then they're free. But anyway.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, no. So what do you think? What do you guys say? You recognize this guy. This is certainly not the normal context in which you would see this gentleman. And I think your grandfather has probably told you who he is. If you guys haven't actually met, your grandfather told you who this guy is when you asked who this guy is, who is always around. And you, Cork, you obviously know who Dr. Black is. Professor Black's grandson.
Right. Okay, so I've already met these guys?
You've what? No, you haven't met us.
Okay.
I don't think.
So you walk out now.
You told me that you're an FBI agent?
Yeah, I think when we had, I don't know, because
I don't think so.
No, because we were gonna talk at breakfast, but then wasn't so much sit down and share.
Brendan, give me a
fight demon.
perception. Do you remember, guys? Did you set up a mind link? You did set up a mind link right at the end, right?
I
Actually,
can't
did,
remember
yeah.
for sure. Because it wouldn't have been before because I didn't know Jeff's character that well.
I think
No, but you did at the end of the fight, and you did include me.
yeah, because I think that's where you helped Jeff resist the mind control.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No.
Do I at least know there's been a time disturbance?
You know that there's been, yeah, I think that there's probably the version of the FBI that you're part of. There are like spiritualists and mentalists who are who help them out, like kind of like an FBI version of a tarot card reader.
Yeah.
The government is trying to press. They're seeing that as there's more unnatural crime that's seeming to manifest, they are trying to find ways to combat fire with fire, right? So, what you've heard that the sort of like sensitive or whatever that works for the FBI was having nightmares about this stuff, and that's sort of what got you why your ears were tweaked up when you heard that Colin Dr. Black had hopped in his sedan and gone screaming across the country.
Yeah.
So that's why, and you were unfortunately like maybe a day and a half behind, but you've been sort of like pedal to the metal since not New York, which might explain your demeanor right now too, because.
Okay, so what is just curious about what is my task right now? Like,
find out. I think you want to find out why he's out here.
Dr. Black?
Yeah. What is it that brought him out here? Something really upset your psychic, like the FBI psychic. They don't know what it is. And it seems like this guy may have a good idea of what that might be.
So I can talk to him then?
Sure, of course, yeah.
I'll just say good morning.
Like, think of it, the way I'm sort of picturing this, guys, we're in the scene that is like the post-credit sequence in the first couple of Avengers films. It's the scenes with Coulson slowly sort of bringing shit together.
All right, so I'm going to address Dr. Black.
Okay.
I'm just going to say, good morning, Dr. Black.
Brent, would you give me a perception check, please?
Yeah, for sure.
Good morning.
What is my perception? It is.
I'll introduce myself. I'm Dr. Colin Black.
All right, it's 3d6.
The incident in the diner was not our fault, sir.
What exactly happened here?
Well,
Brent?
I beat it by 4.
Oh, awesome. So you know what? Sylvester's not in the mind link anymore. And you turn around and he's not standing there either. He's gone.
Has he done that before? And is it just like, oh, Sylvester being Sylvester?
Yeah, I mean, he does that sometimes, but never when you've, been trapped together in 1937, right? Because you guys have effectively traveled, what, 81 years into the past?
Yeah. So I guess I'm slightly concerned, but not super concerned because he's pulled this shit on me in the past. I'm slightly concerned because of our current circumstances and somewhat annoyed because of our... But he's sort of weird enough that it's not like entirely out of the realm of possibility that he's doing his weird shit things.
Yeah. Cork, Steve's guy's got this ability called luck. And what he does is he rolls like, a number of D6s, and for each 6 he gets, it just, whenever like his weird luck might help out something or might have a weird circumstance that would be beneficial, we roll it, and however many 6s he rolls, that tells us how lucky he is or whether it's triggered. And okay. Steve had fucking hot dice last session, so he was constantly getting lucky things. So, like, we just, what happened last time is keep being like a lucky coincidence after another. Like, the reason they've got closed right now is because dry cleaning was delivered to the wrong room that happened to fit both of them.
Nice.
Yeah. So you turn around and there's this, fairly craggy, looking handsome guy walking towards you, and you were distracted for a second. So he and Dr. Black were talking, in which I interrupted. So carry on, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, what exactly causes disturbance here?
Well, it's hard to explain, but some people would say there was a demon involved. And said demon was causing confusion and anger amongst the good people of Bend.
So, Cork,
I guess I'm slightly shocked because you're talking. I realize you're telling this to an FBI agent.
yeah,
Did you introduce yourself as an FBI agent?
No, I'm just surprised that you walked up to
No,
someone who's
hold
like
on.
in law enforcement going, "Hey, there was a demon here."
Oh yeah. I'm
Right.
concerned.
And Cork, just for context, like this makes for the shit you've heard, maybe there's a possibility of something like that being real, but it would be as credible as someone in our world at this point saying that, right? Well, it's because there was a demon in here, you know.
I'm just gonna pull out like a notepad and just start making notes on it.
Does he do that kind of like Josh Brolin thing of like, taking it out very deliberately and like taking his pen out very deliberately?
Yeah, it's got like an elastic around it, and I like snap the elastic off, and
That's so awesome.
Matt's sort of in somewhat disbelief and confused. So I'm going to try and read this other FBI agent's mind. Is he taking this shit seriously? Because if someone came in our time and said, "Hey, a demon was in the cafe," it would go down the same way.
Okay, cool. So Brent,
and I don't remember, in FBI training talking about the back in the past when they dealt with demons and such.
All right. So what you're trying to do is to just do a mind telepathy, rather. So first thing I need to do is to do a mental attack. So one of the things I fucked up last session too, guys. This is what we're going to be doing for the next 6 months, is me continually like, hey, remember how we did that last session? I fucked that up. But I'm trying to minimize that. So I allowed you to spend. You've got levels, Brent, in your mental powers, right?
Right.
You cannot use those levels for OCV or DCV. They have to be used on mental things. So you can use it. I'm not sure if you were using it for DCV, but I suggested.
You mean where it says a +3 with psychic powers?
Yes. So that can be used every time you have an action. You can choose to put those. You choose like how many of those are going into OCV, how many are going to DCV, how many are going so OMCV, how many into DMCV, and whether you're using 2 of them to increase the effect of your power. Remember, that's what you can use those levels for. Well, what you can't do is use those to add to your DCV, to your normal
it's only mental stuff. Yeah,
because I was saying that you could do that. And that's not right.
Okay. Well, I will put them all into the offense right now.
Okay. So, Cork,
or I guess, sorry, 2 into offense and 1 into effect.
Let me open up your character sheets here, guys. Cork, what is your DMCV?
Well, I also have a tailored Q suit that has mental defense of 10.
You do, and that will come into play when we do the effect. But let's just surprise Brent with that.
Okay. My DCV.
No, DMCV.
DMCV is 5 and 6.
Oh no, one of them is OMCV and one of them is DMCV. I think your DMCV is 6.
Okay, sorry, I was reading the value, not the points.
Oh, okay, yeah.
6.
Okay, let's see here.
I have to roll a 13 or better. 15 or better, or worse.
Okay.
Or lower, I guess. And that would be, let me see, I believe that's 12d6.
So you're rolling. Oh, Matt, you got to hit first.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. That's
you got to hit first. So let's see. So
Okay, so I hit.
So you succeed. Okay, no. And then what you do, Brent, is you pick the effect. So what are you trying? How much information are you trying to get here? Just surface thoughts right now, deep hidden thoughts, memories.
No, just the surface thoughts right now. Okay. I'm just trying to figure out if he's taking this shit seriously.
Sure. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and roll again? Roll your 12d6.
Okay, and this is where I add 1 for effect, right?
That's right. Yeah. So 13d6.
Okay.
And that's because you put 2 of your levels into increasing effect, right?
No, 2 of them into hit, 1 into increasing effect. So
no, you need to spend 2. You need to spend 2 levels in order to boost the effect.
Oh, so 2 dice boost the effect 1.
Yeah, 2 levels increase the effect by 1.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Sorry.
Yeah. That's okay. Let's roll 12d6. Okay. So, Cork, what is your ego?
My ego is 5.
No, oh, no, that's your points, not the points spent.
Oh,
Yeah.
my ego
Yeah,
is 15.
15. Okay. So, Cork's ego is a 15, and his suit gives off. You detect there's a little more resistance because Cork's suit is lined with this, bizarre, 30s high tech, wiring that provides some kind of psychic disturbance. So it's a little more difficult to read his mind than you expect, but even with that 10 mental defense, that gives him a total of 25. You are way over 25, Brent. So yeah, you easily pick up his current thoughts. What are you thinking right now, Corker? What would be the things foremost in your mind? You can go ahead and tell Brent.
The foremost thing on my mind is to get as much information about these two as possible.
Okay.
And then report back to my controller.
Yeah. You probably pick up that he's aware of, he is an FBI agent. He's thinking of, maybe there's a stray thought that goes back to the office back in New York City. And in a flash, you sort of pick up his name as well. His name is Special Agent Jack Valiant. And would you kindly give me, let's see here, what are your skills, Brent?
All right.
We have, let's see here. Oh, give me a bureau.
Yes, profession?
Yeah, absolutely. PS is professional skill, yeah. Give me a professional skill, FBI agent, and I'm going to give you a +3 to it. So you need a 14 or less on this.
All right.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ. So his name means nothing to you.
Wow, I think that's the worst roll I've had today. Sorry, since I've been playing this. I don't. That's a.
Well, no, this is a game ideally suited for you because it's rolling 3d6 and rolling.
I know, and that's why I'm saying mostly I've been succeeding.
Okay, so yeah, no, so the name means nothing to you, but he's scribbling down this information. So go ahead and carry on your. I'm gonna run and grab some water, guys, because it's super warm in my room here right now. Go ahead and carry on. Keep role playing back and forth, and then I'll come jump back in when I get back.
And what is your name, sir?
You're asking him, or asking.
Yeah, I'm asking natural disaster there.
Or no, it's.
I'm Matt. I don't have a superhero name.
Oh wait, hold on a second.
Oh, you're just natural disaster.
What?
Which
duplicator.
Who's? All right. Sorry.
My name is Colin.
I'm Matt.
Colin Black.
You're Colin Black?
And what's your name, good sir?
My name is Special Agent Jack Valiant.
Special Agent Jack Valiant. How exciting, Matt. Yes, the Federal Bureau is here. What brings the Federal Bureau to Bend?
Oh, just passing through?
Just passing through. Well, you might want to be on the lookout for some demons.
Yeah, can you describe these demons to me? I don't say that in a disbelieving.
I couldn't actually perceive the demon, to be honest with you. My friend, he was here a moment ago. He was able to perceive the demon, and he informed us of his presence.
So he's a cultist.
Whereabouts are you guys from?
I guess I'm from I might even be from New York City.
So you guys are trying, this is me talking, not my character, but you guys are trying to stay incognito that you're in the past, not change events and stuff?
Oh, I'm not from the past. I am from the past.
Oh, you're from the past?
Yeah, I'm from, it was just me and Steve from the future.
Yeah, I think the future is a more productive way of thinking it because you guys are all in 1937 for the foreseeable future.
Okay.
And that's when my character's from.
Yeah.
All right, my character's from the 2.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if Colin and I don't know if you guys have told me you're from the future yet.
I don't think they have.
I don't think
No,
you guys did.
we never got a chance. We were gonna go sit down and talk, but and
I
never
don't really know
happened.
much about you guys other than my equipment still led you to you.
Right.
But now I know your supers. Or well, I know. Yeah, I do know.
Yeah, and we just never got much past that because of the demon.
The DM just really wanted to have a fight.
so, did you defeat this demon?
Yes. Well, I mean, we sent him back to wherever it was he came from. If you would consider that a defeat, then yes, I guess we feel like we defeated him. I smashed him with a chair.
Were there any deaths or casualties involved?
I don't believe anyone was killed. Colin? Or, sorry, Connor? Did you see anyone injured? Other than, here, my good friend. But, you know, I actually did that to him.
Yeah, you can see that the young kid has one hell of a shiner on his face.
Agent Valiant. No, I did not see a demon. We've had a late night, and my friend and I are just on we were on a road trip and we're just about to depart. Do you need us for anything?
Oh, I don't really need you for anything, but I was wondering if you guys wouldn't mind getting out of this cold and grabbing a coffee.
Good little cup of Joe.
Sure. I'm thinking this is really weird. I've got one guy walking up to FBI agents going, "Hey, I've seen demons," and the FBI going to go, "Hey, do you guys want to grab coffee?" I'm just going to roll with it.
Well, remember what your line of work was, right? Like this whole thing started off because you were tracking a smuggled occult artifact that was had been sold to what you thought was a white nationalist movement.
When you got to realize what Dr. Black's doing, like he's trying to legitimize the paranormal. So.
Right. But I'm figuring that in the past, it probably
the Federal Bureau,
come up as like
the Federal Bureau start a paranormal division.
Do you
I don't know. Would that would have been like on the down low if it was paranormal division within the FBI.
It's a world of superheroes, but so I mean, it's presumed in the same way that there are like special response teams that come out when there are supervillains, or out of control superheroes. It's sort of assumed. The world that you come from, Brent, is a world full of superhumans.
So I should be less surprised at the way the conversation's going.
The world where you're from is very much like a like a Marvel or a DC universe. Like it's full of superheroes, supervillains. Detroit was in fact destroyed in a massive fight in the either 90s or early 2000s. I just don't remember offhand. And has been replaced by rebuilt thanks to super technology as a place called Millennium City. This is sort of I'm going to give you another chance to make a roll. Now that you're actually specifically thinking about this stuff, give me another check of your FBI profession, and if you fail this one, then you are absolutely not going to get it. Okay, so with the +3, you just barely made it. Good Lord. It suddenly fucking dawns on you. I think what happens is you respond in a you're just so surprised, and you're like, Jack Vance or Jack Valiant. And Agent Valiant, you don't remember introducing yourself to this guy. And the reason you're sort of surprised, Brent, is talking about the special division. Jack Valiant is the guy who founded that division in the FBI. This is the guy who founded the entire organization that you work for. He is a fucking legend.
You have to walk past a picture of me when you go through the
Yes. Yeah, totally. Like the way that Cork's
I think
character
your
is,
character's
his character's kind of like the Nick Fury of the Champions universe.
right, and I'm just saying that I think that Brent's character Connor is just so shocked still from actually being in 1937 that
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
was
wait,
probably
you're
jogging. He was probably jogging his memory for FBI agents that he knew,
Yeah.
but not thinking to oh, wait a minute, I
the
need to
guy
think
on
of,
the poster.
Is there anything I can roll?
Yeah, exactly.
Is there anything I can roll to detect if I'm being mind scanned?
You can. Let's see here. I think it's a perception check. Let me just double check here. But okay, here. Mental powers. I think that the target of a mental attack can sense the source of the attack and knows what power he's been attacked with. So because he's read your mind, you know this guy just done that.
Okay.
Oh, so when I read people's minds, they just sort of know it's been done?
Yeah, it looks like. Let me just read telepathy quickly.
Well, that's no good. I play this guy a lot. I will sneak in and read their mind. I'm like, I'm not so sneaky anymore.
Well, but if they're a room full of people, they don't necessarily know who did it. Or do they? Are you that connected? That would be weird. It would make those kinds of powers almost useless.
I feel like I've been mind raped.
Let's see here.
Well, I wonder if it's in the telepathy power.
Yeah, I'm just looking here. It doesn't say in.
Because that would be unusual, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that you were mind read, or that.
No, that I'd be able to detect the mind as a big.
It's because he's probing, though. He's probing your mind, right? That's why I think that
he's going for the easy shit. He was going for the surface thoughts.
Yeah, but it's not it's not eavesdropping on. Let me see. You know what? Let me grab quickly the telephone book. Let's see what it says. This is the area of telepathy.
It does look like it from the description here. Throughout the process from the initial MCV attack roll through a successful breakout roll, the victim is aware that someone is attacking him with telepathy.
Yeah, so I guess. Let's see here.
Or I could do it through a mind link. Oh, but I can't do it through a mind link. Okay.
Yeah, because the nature of your thing.
That powers won't work.
Yeah, I think that depend on language. Okay, so the way it works is if you're successful, then the target gets to make a breakout roll. The breakout roll succeeds, the telepathy fails, but the target is aware of the attempt to read the mind. If the breakout roll fails, each phase thereafter, the telepath can search for one fact. Yeah, so I guess because the thing is, there is an advantage called invisible power effects, and I think that what that does for mental powers is it means that it doesn't probe your mind. So, Brent, what? How many after tonight's session? I think you'll have what 6? 6 points. Let me see. What's your multi-power? Excuse me. Wrong character. Actually, what I could do, Brent, is Brent, I could build you as another slot in your mental power or in your thing. We could build you a telepathy. It won't be quite as powerful, but it will. It could have invisible power effects. So it would be the sort of invisible listening.
How long would I have to wait to get enough to make my full power? Or we can discuss this, I guess, in between games to make my full strength telepathy. But
you couldn't. The thing is like this is the nature of the what do you call it? The hero game is that, or the hero system is that you get what you pay for. So because your multi-power has a 60-point power reserve, it means that no power that's in there can be built on more than 60 points. So the most
I have to increase that power reserve.
Yeah, exactly. And so what that means is that because you want to get a better, a even better effect on it. It would be like if you want to slap area effect on it, you want to read every mind around you. Similarly to that's going to cost more points, which means you can have less effect. Does that make sense?
Right. So I just got it, but we could figure out how much I could just dump the 6 points to try and increase my array, right?
You could just no, because you could dump 6 points into the reserve. No, because I'm not letting you guys do that. We'll talk about how I'm gonna let you spend the powers. Because the thing is, I don't want you guys just dumping all your shit into one thing. Like the way that you're supposed to be advancing your characters in Hero is by spending points in response to the game. It's not to just keep dumping shit in so you're a glass cannon. I mean, you can do that, but it's all PowerPoint expenditures are subject to my approval. And also it means your slots, like just because you have more points in the point reserve, it doesn't mean your slots are more powerful, or those may be more expensive then.
Okay, well, I'll discuss it with you in between games. And
yeah.
Okay.
So, okay. Let's see here. And I think, I might, what I might do is just say, just so everyone knows, is I might say, like, let's play 10 sessions and then we'll start spending points. Because then you'll get a sense of exactly how everything comes into play, because there are so many moving parts in this particular game that, I don't want you to spend a whole bunch of points into one thing and then realize, 3 or 4 more sessions later that, oh, fuck, there's other things I should be thinking about as well.
Right.
So anyway, yes, we will deal with that in between. So, looks like Jack Valiant, you knew that he was trying to read your mind, or did read your mind, and that's when he says your name. So you've sort of, I imagine, put 2 and 2 together and figured out that he just got that from your mind.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything about it.
So you're just going to look at him, lick your pencil, and then go back to writing down?
Yeah.
But I would probably, if I knew I wouldn't have done that. If I know my power works that way.
Yeah.
And I probably would, because it would probably come up in the past.
Yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't have tried to read his mind then.
You mean the present?
Yeah. Which means, you know what? It means then that you wouldn't have revealed his name then, because you only got his name from reading his mind.
I think he told us his name when we walked up to him.
He did tell us his name now.
Oh, did he? Okay. Well, yeah, Brent was distracted by the mind link going down and what's his name disappearing. But we'll just say that he introduced himself again to you when you walked up, because you clearly weren't paying attention. And that's when you sort of like were thinking, and then it dawned on you. You kind of blurted his name out, and he reacted as if it was nothing. Okay. So that's where we are right now.
All right, so is this diner destroyed, or can we get a coffee here?
Oh, it's fine. The service staff might be a little annoyed with us.
We just freed him from a demon. Let's see what happens.
We can try here.
We'll just go back in and sit down and have coffee.
Sure. And it's kind of like, if things are still, people are still like talking about what they saw and what happened and whatnot. But I mean, people got to eat, right? So the place is sort of a hubbub of activity, and they're talking about how some guy, I'm trying to remember, was it Steve that hit him with his spell, or did you hit him with your ability, Brent?
I hit him with my ability.
But I think that was after his after Steve hit him with, because you couldn't see him, right?
Right. So yeah. So Steve.
Yeah. So I think it's that way. All right. So they're talking about how like this, this long-haired guy, did something, and they drove off this demon, and there's some men got into a fight, and no, I forgot I sent my mom a book. My mom was trying to call. I sent her a book to read. There's a book that just came out called Bad Blood, and it's on. Do you guys know what Theranos is?
Yeah, he was in the Avengers, right?
No, it's mass. It was the largest. I think it was the largest. What was it? The biggest medical research company or something like that, or privately owned research company. They were trying to basically come up with like a advanced blood testing thing.
Yeah, then there was one by that woman who scammed people.
Yeah. So the book's it's written. It's the book written by the guy who exposed them.
Oh.
Yeah, so I thought my mom would enjoy reading that. So
Nobody likes a tattletale.
I like a tattletale. Okay, so you guys head into there. You sit down. The waitress walks up, and she's got her hair. It's a woman in her probably like early maybe early 30s. Hair's sort of pulled up in a bun. She's got thick ankles. She's clearly like a mom or some of someone. She comes over and sort of looks at Matt and Dr. Black and says, "Now I'm not going to have any more trouble with you two, all right?"
Not at all, ma'am.
No, we've made up.
All right, well, there we go. Coffee?
Please.
Yeah, I'll have a coffee and a slice of apple pie with ice cream on top.
I can. It's a little early for that, but I'll thaw the ice cream and get it for you. She winks at you and then heads off. So you guys are sitting at the diner.
Yeah. So tell me a bit more about yourself there, Mr. Connor.
I'm just traveling with my friend here. We're heading back to we're heading to New York.
2 friends, I would add.
Interesting.
Yes.
And your other friends are?
Our other
He
friend
stepped out for a few minutes.
seems to have disappeared. Quite strange.
Why are you guys? I'm just asking as a DM. Why are you guys heading to New York?
Because I thought that's what the plan was when we made it.
Well, we haven't made that plan yet. That's the plan.
Okay. Well,
you guys haven't even told me about anything yet.
Yeah, basically ignore anything we talked about in our emails in terms of what plans are made. Because I genuinely want to know why. Like, what's the motivation for going there? What is it you're hoping to be able to do there?
okay. Yeah. So if we haven't come to that point yet, I will just say I was. I've been on a just out on a trip with a friend, seeing the country.
Seeing the country.
Dr. Black looks at Connor very seriously, and he says, "Can I speak to you for a second over at the counter?"
Sure.
Not suspicious at all.
No, it doesn't matter. He doesn't care. He brings him over there, and he's whispering quietly. "Are you trying to deceive the FBI man?"
Yes, I don't want.
If you want to be period appropriate, G-Man.
G-Man. Okay. Are you trying to deceive the G-Man?
Yes. At this point, I don't know if it's wise to tell the G-Man or let the government know that there are criminals from the future who have come to the past, and we have come along with them, and that one of our members have teleported away. I think that will end up in.
Yeah, this is what you're telling me. I haven't heard any of this.
Oh,
You're like shocked.
sorry. I thought I guess yeah. Sorry. Never mind, Jeff. I forgot.
Okay. No, it's actually hilarious. Okay, so like the look on Dr. Black's face is like pure excitement.
I wouldn't have actually said that. I forgot we haven't established that yet. I would just say, like talking about demons, and I think we established time travel, didn't we?
No, you guys haven't told me anything about. I just thought that my grandfather's device said that something paranormal was happening.
Okay, so then what I would say to you is, there is something happening, but I don't think it's wise to involve the government at this point. What we'll do is end it up in a padded cell before we make any headway in the investigation.
I think our new friend here is going to lock us up.
If we talk about demons and other supernatural strangeness, because I know like
these things are real, we need to convince the government of their existence. They're very helpless with what I'm trying to establish here. Lying to them isn't going to make friends with them.
Very well. Why don't we relate to them that we are both paranormal investigators, and perhaps they can give us a contact number should we require his aid in the future. Or if we come to a lead where we require the FBI's aid.
I have no problem telling this man that we are colleagues of paranormal investigation. But that will involve you and the good sir, Mr. Disaster, explaining to me what paranormal nature brought you here.
Okay. Let's just take a step back for a moment, guys, and just remember kind of what the mindset for each of these characters is right now. Brent, you know, you have found yourself in the middle of nowhere in 1937, and there's all this bizarre stuff that's happening right now, and now your buddy's gone. What do you think your priority is here? Like, don't think about it in terms of the campaign. Don't think about it in terms of like to move the story along or whatnot. What will be the most satisfying is just playing your character authentically to what you think your character will be doing.
Which I am doing. I don't think he would be wanting to talk about time or let anyone know that, you know, about the time travel.
I agree with that. What I'm trying to get at is I'm trying to get out of you what you think Matt will be planning then. Like, where I know we talked about New York, but the reason we talked about that was really like metagame stuff to get you guys to New York City. So let's throw that shit out.
Okay,
and
what he's planning probably would not come up in this immediate conversation. Like, and the diner, I think his conversation would be to try and get rid of the G-Man because he would find it detrimental if they were, you know, clued into the investigation at this point.
But what I'm saying, like, I'm not interested in you necessarily role playing out that. What I want to know, just as the DM, what you're thinking. Because if you guys can tell me what you're thinking in a broader term, then I can plan, you know, accordingly.
But I thought you figured out who he is, though. Or is that not true?
Yeah, he does. He knows that at someday this guy will, either right now or someday, Jack Valiant will be the most famous G-Man in the entire world.
Right. But at this point, I'm uncertain. I'm not like, I would like to get his card, but I don't know if it coming out and say, hey, you know, if we start talking about nuclear bombs and time travel, I don't think that's a good way to start things out. I'm a bit more, more cautious.
You're completely trusting this weirdo who seems to be sort of stalking you.
Well, so far we haven't trusted him exactly with everything. I would trust him probably more, but he tends to share with everyone else. So it's like whatever I tell to him, he's happy to tell the world. So that will limit what I you know want to tell him. You know.
Is that a character trait of your character, Jeff?
Well, it's more that like he is. He's more like on the frontiers of these things, and he's a scientist investigating it, and he thinks that all of these paranormal things have scientific, you know, have science behind them. So he's basically, you know, trying to establish this as a real legitimate science. Like, he'd like the government to start a paranormal investigative thing, and then he'd like to be one of the head doctors on it. Like, you know.
Yeah.
It'd be all about funding and resources. Like, he knows that supers exist, and to have a group of, you know, he'd have a private group of superheroes if he could, but he's not quite wealthy enough. Like, he's quite wealthy, so he's not really working for the sake of working. He's working for the sake of finding these cool people and these interesting things that are happening, and, you know, being a part of them and documenting them, and maybe learning about what he thinks is behind them, which is, you know, science-based.
Okay. And Cork, what are you thinking? What's Jack kind of thinking of this? What's he trying to achieve here?
I think Jack has stumbled upon some definite weirdness, and I'm just investigating and seeing if there's any crimes being committed or that kind of general sense. Because I don't know anything about the time disruption, right?
Not at all. No, not at all.
No, they haven't shared that at all.
But I have seen some weird shit in the past.
You know that there's something there's something that happened seemingly, I guess, out here, and you're guessing it's out here because of where Dr. Black, wherever this kind of weird shit happens, when the Bureau knows about it, it seems that you always find Dr. Black there.
Okay.
So you're getting more and more to be like, you again, kind of stuff. There was some.
Like, we would be investigating the same things. You're being sent by the government, and I'm privately finding them.
Yes, exactly.
So you might start to wonder how I'm finding things.
I think it's a very good question. Yeah.
Have you been published in any of the papers that I might have read?
Yeah, actually, I might have written some papers that you've been reading.
Okay. Yeah, and you've got so Cork, under your skills, you've got something called KS. KS is your knowledge skill. Knowledge skill, superhuman world. If you want to give me a roll 3d6 and you want to roll an 11 or less on this.
All right. So in my skills, I have what is it called?
It's KS, which is knowledge skill. Knowledge skill, superhuman world. You see the roll is an 11 there?
11.
Yeah. So you're going to roll 3d6 and you want to roll 11 or less. Oh, hold on. But you've actually also got this ability called Know a Bit of Everything, which gives you +2 levels with all of your non-combat skills. So it's actually a 30 or less. Holy shit, and 7. So yeah, like you've read everything I think that this guy's written. Which is why you're sort of zeroed in on.
You know quite a bit about me.
Yeah. So with that in mind,
you got like a file on you or something, you know?
Yeah. Oh, we definitely have a file of his. So with that in mind, so Jack, you're still scribbling shit down at the table. That apple pie shows up with a nice dollop of ice cream, vanilla ice cream on the side. She gives you a little wink as she leaves. And
be off in the corner talking about it. If these guys are going to be off in the corner, I'll start like reading a newspaper while I'm waiting.
No, lovely, yeah. So you bring up the Oregonian or whatever the paper is, and sit back. And the news is that there was blasting on the mountain. Is one of the smaller stories. Near town, near here, there was something that's been reported. There's an explosion that someone has attributed to illegal blasting. And that's of interest to you.
Maybe I'll head out there.
So you start looking at the place for it, and maybe that's where you guys, Matt and Dr. Black, you guys will come back.
Sure.
He's reading a paper and seems particularly interested in one article. Are you trying to hide what your interest is, Cork, or is it obvious?
No. I'm just going to mention to them that I'm thinking of checking out this place, and I was wondering if you guys weren't busy, if you wanted to come with me.
Let's see here, Matt. How many have you got? You know, give me a deduction check. So what deduction is, guys? Deduction is sort of like, it's sort of a catch-all skill for if your characters will just put 2 and 2 together or not. You know, when we're not going to be to sort of like hand wave past me setting out a bunch of fucking clues and you as the player trying to role play your character through it. We just make a deduction check and see if your character picked up on this. So Brent, give me a deduction check, please.
All right.
Excuse me. Yep.
Made it.
So you're looking at the description of this, and you know, part of what you were doing on your, I mean, it's different geography, and you teleported back to town. You didn't walk or drive back to town. but you remember looking at like Google Maps and shit like that, trying to find where this cabin was in the future, and what's being described as sort of where that that blast was heard from is probably where you appeared in 1937.
Marty.
Interesting. I would definitely like to accompany you if that offer stands.
All right, well, we'll finish up our coffees here, and then we'll go check out the site.
Okay.
So do you still have them? Do we still have the mind link, or is that something that you have to keep going, Brant?
No, the mind link. I guess I'd probably after. Where's mind link?
I don't think that the roll 21 lists endurance used correctly. I'll have to double check. I still have to
Hang
build
on,
your
let me,
guy.
I'm just wondering if like I can think things to you, or
okay. I've got the one you sent me here.
I'll just say that we ended our private conversation with me saying that I'll let you answer that if you have secrets for yourself and Mr. Disaster, then I will let you, or Mr. Sylvester, I'll let you answer the FBI's questions.
Hey,
You
Mind link
nod
costs
to me
nothing.
when.
But it also says too on the, at least on the, I'm looking at the PDF that you sent. It says it's part of the unified power. So that means as soon as I do something else, the mind link drops.
No. There's a difference between the multi-power and the unified power. What so because your powers are psychic in origin, basically what unified power does. Let me double check this. I believe that unified power means that something makes a power a part of a larger group of powers, and they're all affected equally and simultaneously by negative adjustment powers. So if you are zapped by like an anti-psychic ray or something like that, all of your psychic powers that are linked by that unified power, all of them would be affected. But that's different. That's a shared disadvantage as opposed to the multi-power, which is where you can only use one of those slots.
Right. Okay. And it's the grind wheel, hallucination, mind scan, and telepathy. Got it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can use that for free. It doesn't cost you endurance. You just need to make. I mean, technically, you need to make an attack check against a 0 DCV, but like your bonus with your attack is so high, we won't bother rolling for that. So if you want the mind link to be up, that's fine.
Yeah, sure. So Corey, I'm not going to include you right now just because I don't know you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Plus, he's got that damned suit up too.
Yeah.
I guess we
and if you start hearing our thoughts, it might,
Yeah.
There might be some questions that you're not ready to answer.
Okay, so what do you say through your mind link?
Let's go with them. There might be supernatural elements at that spot. We were tracking. Sylvester and I were tracking supernatural criminals around there. There was an explosion. Something could have happened, but be on guard. They're both really dangerous. And they're dangerous enhanced individuals. Or powered individuals, or whatever the term is.
Okay. And Colin Black will add anything we witness together with the agent, I will be discussing with him.
But I think you don't know. I'm just looking at your skills. I don't think you know what they're called in 1937.
Oh yeah.
So that's you role played that precisely correct, or whatever they're called.
All right. So I'll just go with that. I'll just say they're powered or enhanced or whatever you call them individuals.
Let me see here. Agent Valiant. Give me an interrogation check, please.
Is that a skill?
Yeah, interrogation is a skill. And
well,
so it's 12, but remember you got +2 with all non-combat skills, so it's actually 14 or less.
Well, I made it then.
You don't have to interrogate, but you get the distinct impression that this Mr. O'Connor seems eminently relaxed around these unusual things. The things you're looking into, this guy seems pretty fucking unfazed by it.
This Connor guy?
Yeah. Like they apparently just faced a demon minutes before, and the way he phrased that powered or enhanced or whatever, you know.
Oh, that was through the mind.
Do I get the sense that he's law enforcement?
I don't know if you picked that up necessarily, but you certainly get the sense that from what he said that he is familiar with, or at least he is not fazed by these kinds of unusual things.
I'll keep that in my back pocket.
Okay.
And that last comment was through the mind link to Duplicator.
So I thought that's what you said to. Well, so you're sitting in silence in front of Agent.
No, this was just like.
Yeah.
I got up to leave and go with him. I just.
Yeah,
I would.
Sorry.
Through the mind link, just tell that.
Sorry, I didn't understand that.
Sorry, my bad. I'll clarify more when I'm using the mind link.
That's okay. We'll get familiar with these characters.
Well, there probably be
to Dr. Black.
We're not doing that.
Oh, sorry. One at a time, guys. I'm losing everybody. What would you say?
Sorry, that was directed just to Dr. Black. But when I use telepathy or the mind link and not everyone's in it, I'll make a point of saying that as opposed to just talking.
And sorry, Jeff. What'd you say?
Well, I just said there'll come probably a point when we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Or it'll be a very strange campaign if we're constantly mind linked and keeping certain characters out of everything.
That'll be hilarious.
Okay, so you guys have 2 vehicles to take, but it seems like the one.
We'll follow you, Agent.
We'll take my car. I got enough room for all of us.
Is that okay with you, Mr. Connor?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. You guys got a full day of recording. So let's see here. So looking. Well, here's the thing. So Matt, you probably have the best idea of how to get where you're trying to get. You haven't tried to get there in 1937, but you know where the destination is in 2018.
But we had to get back. We got back from there in 1937, right? We had to make it to town.
No, remember you teleported.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So you. The reason I ask is I want to know how much help you're being in finding this, or whether you're going to let Agent Valiant just sort of like fumble his way towards it and gently nudge him in that direction.
Was there still a cabin out in that way?
From what you didn't inspect a lot, there were some ruins left over. There was like a blast. It's as if a blast went off. But you guys didn't stick around that long. You sort of walked out, you looked around and said, "Oh, it's cold, it's night, let's get out of here," and then teleported away.
But there was no building that we walked out of or was standing in front of us.
No, but there was certainly enough. There would be enough ruin there to see that that a building had partially stood there.
I'll just say I think I know there's a cabin in the woods that seems to be around that area. Anyway, my directions might be off a bit because the road and conditions might not exactly be the same.
Brent, give me an intelligence roll, please.
All right. Well, where's my int? So 13 or less.
It's 13 or less.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what? It's actually so we're not going back and bombing Berlin afterwards. Now that you think about it, it's from what you remember, and it was dark, and you really didn't take the time to inspect very closely. But it's not a full cabin that's there. There's enough to make it look as if there's part of a cabin there, but you're not going to get there and find like a burned down full cabin. Does that make sense?
Okay, I'll just say I overheard people talking about. I think I overheard someone talking about building a cabin out there.
Okay, give me a.
I don't know what's the bluff skill here?
Yeah, I don't think it'd be like. I think that's just going to be a 9 roll. You're rolling a 9 or less. You're not really a very good liar.
Yeah, I don't really have any undercover type of.
No, and then Cork, would you kindly give me a perception check, please? Okay, actually, you failed anyway. So don't worry about it, Cork. basically Matt gives you the most unconvincing lie about, I overheard this guy say that there was a cabin out there. Like, you know, that the like proverbial, I got this friend who has this problem and let me tell you about it. You know, so this clearly, again, this like your hackles are up. This guy seems to know a lot more, and he's a terrible fucking liar.
Yeah. Well, I don't let on. I just kind of goad him into telling me more.
Yep. Okay. So it seems like then Matt, you can offer some direction. Dr. Black, do you want to do anything here as well, or are you just gonna kind of wait till see where things go?
He's like trying to. He doesn't believe the agent that he just is passing through town. He sort of is kind of clued in that he thinks maybe the FBI is investigating this.
Yep.
Especially since that's where he wants to go, is where the paranormal stuff is. So he's just kind of grilling him in a way of like, you know, so, you know, the FBI, is the agency getting more interested in the supernatural?
You know, I can't.
Like that.
You know, I can't talk about government matters. You understand?
Oh, so secretive, sir.
Open investigations and such.
Your silence speaks volumes. I'm on to you.
Love it. Okay, so you guys, it's much of that on the drive out to the the where the cabin was, and the roads are, like I had said a couple sessions ago, the roads are a lot more rough than what you remember them, but you're roughly able to, you know, there's a gas station standing where a brand new, you know, like Shell station or Chevron station was standing when you left, but it's this old, like, you know, those, you know, pumps with a little, like, you know, ball inside the thing to go along as you're filling your, you know, guys dressed in, like, you know, white uniforms, you know, pump jockeys who are literal, like, pump jockeys, and this is really sort of where it's like seeing stuff that you are at least somewhat familiar with is reinforcing the, like, Jesus Christ, like, where it's so different. It's so, like, eerily similar, but it's just so different. But you're only able to get to a certain point where there was a road leading in, there is not. So, and you realize also that you're probably relying on Sylvester's clairvoyance ability to sort of like help situate yourself, right? Because he has that ability to sort of project his senses elsewhere. So this is going to be a bit of a hike through, you know, winter woods. Did you guys think to pack anything to wear?
No, because we just left the car, and we were whatever clothes that we had from the dry cleaners.
I am going to say that, like, your characters obviously knew that you're going up into winter. They remembered that it's wintertime. They remember that the woods are there. So let's say that you guys pull out your sort of like winter clothes, you know, and like some not mucklucks, but like, you know, the equivalent of, like, you know, mucklucks, and you're putting winter boots on, and you're going to go tromping into the snow. I honestly have no idea what a 1937 parka looks like. I can tell you,
bulky.
I imagine, yeah. So you start to, there's probably a sporting goods store that you guys hit before, or not a sporting goods, but like a hunting store, I guess would be a 30s equivalent, and or a hardware store, and you get the stuff you need, and once you guys are all bundled up, we see you guys making your way, you know, truck through the heavy woods. Let's see, what I'm trying to think what skill you might use here. Oof, you're just awful at trying to find yourself in the woods there, Brent. You are not much help either. Oh, hey, this is actually a good opportunity to point something out. So, Duplicator, you have a skill called cramming. And you may ask, well, why would I have a skill that's just good for studying for exams? Why is that useful? Well, what it is it allows you to acquire a basic understanding of a non-combat skill quickly. After a few hours of study, you gain familiarity with the skill, which basically means that you get you can make a roll, I believe, on an 11 or less. See, either an 11 or less or a 9 or less. So what it means is that for routine tasks or relatively easy tasks, you can succeed in a skill that you don't have. It'll fade over time. But if, say, you told me, Jeff, that once you heard that you were there and they were shopping for the clothes, you sat down and read everything you could about the different books that were available that were about trying to find your way through the woods, you could have picked up that ability.
Okay, I see how it works.
Mm-hmm. So you've got that for the time being, and I think after the two agents are ready to sort of give up and get lost, we see Dr. Black sort of walk between them like, this way, come on, gentlemen. And you know precisely where you need to go.
Okay, and then once we get close enough, I will use mind scan to see if I can pick up any living things or people.
Sure, we can say that you're just periodically doing that as we go along. I won't make you. Are you trying to conceal your use of it from Jack?
Yeah, at this point, from both of them, really.
Oh yeah, right. Then would you give me? Here's how you guys. We're going to do contested rolls here. Brent, you're doing a stealth check, and then Agent Valiant and Dr. Black, both of you give me perception checks.
Where is perception?
Perception is a stat that's right in the middle of the page. No, perception roll under senses, in the middle column, just above your powers. You see where your defenses are?
Yeah, got it.
Oh, just below that is senses.
Yep.
That's where your perception roll is.
13, so I got to roll. Yes.
Oh, wait,
okay.
What? So just roll 3d6.
Yeah, just roll 3d6. So Lich King beat it by 4. Brent, did you beat your stealth?
Okay. I rolled. What the hell is my stealth here?
Nice.
Yes, I did, but by 1.
Okay. So you try to sort of stop for a moment and rest against a tree, and then gesture and reach out with your senses. But I don't think that I think because they're hackers. So again, they can't tell you what you're doing. They can't tell that you're necessarily using mental powers, but they know you're doing something. So that's what you guys get.
If I notice them staring at me, just sorry, something's not sitting well. I must have ate something that's not.
You know what? Again, give me the 3d6. You have no skill in deception whatsoever, but there's a chance you might succeed. Let's see. Yeah, it's convincing.
It's only convincing because he's actually shat himself.
I go that extra mile to make things look weird, or was it just a reason of selling myself?
Okay, so when you guys do finally you keep reaching out and sensing and trying to sense there, Matt, but you're not picking up anyone other than yourselves, and that's when you sort of come across this clearing. That's a clearing of about you're sort of suddenly on this thing. It took you probably about an hour and a half to hike your way deep into the woods here. Actually, maybe 2 hours because it is through some pretty heavy snow. I'm not going to worry about how much endurance loss there is because we're not going to get in a fight, or are we? You guys get to this place, and it's in the daylight. You can see that there is. It's as if like a giant bomb went off. There are trees. Some of the smaller trees have been actually knocked down. Some of the bigger trees are leaning in a bit, and their bark has been blasted away. And what you see is the sort of like the partial scorched and also like just broken wooden wall, like as if part of a wooden cabin was transplanted in here, something very violently, and left a giant crater behind. It's not a It's not a full building. Like there's not a full foundation there. There's only part of one, and the rest of it seems to be undisturbed land. Like this is not. It doesn't appear as if this is a building that has like over time been covered up, or like in the course of the explosion been covered up. There's like damaged by the blast, but otherwise virgin soil, and then suddenly this sort of like, you know, maybe 25-foot radius area where there is this bits of or remnants of this broken what do you call it? This broken cabin. Like if someone chose to build this thing like this, they're insane. Like it's nuts.
Dr. Black, what do you make of this?
This is extremely strange.
Does this look pretty much? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead, Colin. What do you have to add?
It looks like something big explosion here. Kev, does this look the same as when I left?
Well, again, this is the daylight. You didn't really. I think you guys were probably in shock a bit when you appeared. So you really didn't. Again, you didn't take any time to inspect the thing here. But sure, like I mean, you don't. When you appeared, you don't remember there being a full cabin. And you didn't realize that it was just this like weird small portion of it that seems to have been transported. And it's not like an even cut. Like it's as if it got torn up in some kind of perfect grasp and then transported here. There are scorch marks.
Is there snow all the way around the building?
There is snow. No, it's all been blown back. It's as if right in the center, and there is a scorch mark, a perfectly circular scorch mark. It looks like there are papers blowing around. Like it's insane because the scorch marks seem to radiate out from a central point that is totally undamaged. And there's a bit of like a burned remnant of a rug that's in there. And there's a small folder of sheaf of papers. And let's see who. Yeah, it's Dr. Black. I think it's you who sees this.
I think I see some papers or something here.
So you grab it, and it's newspaper clippings, and they look very, very old. They're yellowed and you know, and brittle, and the headlines have faded, or the ink, I suppose, has faded. The paper that this folder is made of is very weird to you. It doesn't, you know, it's a vibrant color that you didn't know people could make. You know, paper in this color, it seems it's got some weird coating on the outside of it as well too. Perhaps, like to your mind, maybe some kind of petroleum product, maybe. Strange. And you look inside, and you'll tell us how you process this.
He is saying these things out loud, like as far as I have never seen any paper or finish like this.
So there is.
O'Connor gets a bit uneasy looking.
This is very strange. Have you seen anything like this, Agent?
I'll look over. I'll look to him and I say, teleportation, co-location, or time shit.
and briefly, I don't know if you guys would catch it when Jeff, when you said agent, Matt's hand reaches out and then he catches himself and pulls it back.
Oh, nice. Does Special Agent Valiant see that?
Yeah, Valiant notices that.
Okay. So what you hold up, Dr. Black, is a. Actually, let me.
Nice.
What happened? It kind of went silent for a minute.
Sorry, I'm just opening something in. Okay, guys, let me hop out of roll 20. Actually, just hop over to the Google Plus call. Actually, we're gonna. You know what? I can stop sharing here. Nope, no, I fucked up. Share application. Here we go. So guys, you, the players, hop over to the Google Plus call. And this is what he is holding up. And if you can't see it, it is a headline that reads, President Roosevelt is dead. And it looks like the date is Friday, April 13, 1945.
Whoa.
8 years in the future. The two of you look at each other, Agent Valiant and Dr. Black, and you look over at Agent O'Connor. And Agent O'Connor, what is the look on your face right now?
I guess less shocked.
What do you say?
I maybe don't say anything right now.
Okay. So that's, guys, where we will call it a session.
Oh,
so
shit, yeah,
camera pans back, and we see sort of like it cranes up, and we see the three of you all sort of looking uneasily at each other. This bizarre, especially the, some weird time shit comment by Special Agent Valiant hanging heavily in the air. So let me get out of full 20 and get my camera back on. Where are we going here? There we go.
Hey, you guys. There's a very good chance that I won't be able to make.
Well, we'll do scheduling after we get off Line Branch. So
okay.
We won't all hang up right away. But for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us. As always, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns about tonight's session, and this is only the third time we've all played this game in about 25 years or 20 years. So the stumbling that we've been having with the system and trying to figure out how certain things work in play, that will get better as time goes on. But it's also, a good example of what life at the table is like when you're getting into a new game. So we appreciate you forgiving any time we're spending on camera looking through rule books, digitally or otherwise. But anyway, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns about the session, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section below. Otherwise, we will see you again on Friday with another session for our Pathfinder game. So, and if you are joining us to watch Traveler, we will be back to Traveler on alternating weeks, I believe, beginning next week. Just one of our players has been working every night at the Calgary Stampede, so he has not been available. So we play this instead. Anyway, thank you all, and we will see you again soon.